It reminds me of a song from Gilbert and Sullivan, Pirates of Penzance.
Yeah.
I am the very model of a modern major general of information, animal, da da da, and animal and mineral and vegetable, da 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 da. You know, it's. Hi everyone. Vlad's teaser question has me expecting some unique sounds on this song, and I'm eager to dive in. But first, I want to remind you that this is just one of many songs in the series. This is a series of 50, and there are going to be more on my Ko-fi and Patreon already uploaded for those of you who want to check out the memberships there. They go there as soon as we have them done until we release them according to schedule to the public. Also, on the Ko-fi and Patreon membership pages are the Beatles 150 series, in which I'm going through 150 of the Beatles works, and the Wall series, where I am treating the Wall album song by song by song. So if you're interested, check those out. Now, as usual, Vlad has given me a little bit of background, and I'm going to read it, and let's see what we discover. Lazing on a Sunday Afternoon is another song by Mercury. Okay, well, I get the idea that he wrote a lot of the songs for Queen. He played piano and performed all of the vocals. The lead vocal was sung in the studio and reproduced through headphones in a tin bucket elsewhere in the studio. Okay. A microphone picked up the sound from the bucket, which gives it a hollow megaphone sound. Well, that has me thinking of the kind of strange preparations we do to piano and harp sometimes to play modern music and get some unique sounds. This is going to be interesting to hear. The guitar solo is also reported to have been recorded on the vocal track, as there were no more tracks to record on, as explained by producer Roy Thomas Baker during the Classic Albums documentary. Mercury explained the song in an interview to Record Mirror in 1976, saying, "That's the way the mood takes me, you know. That's just one aspect of me, and I can really change." Well, I figured out that he is quite versatile, changeable, especially at least in performance. So I would expect that that is part of his personality. Everything on Sunday Afternoon is something that I love doing the vaudeville side of things. It's quite a sort of test. I love writing things like that, and I'm sure I'm going to do more than that. It's quite a challenge. That's interesting, because clearly he loves the performing, the mix of acting and singing and all the different elements that go into that kind of performance, and I can see why he was drawn to it. So, well, let's hear this and see how it goes. Was great fun. Very short. Very stylish. And actually, I think that whole recording into a bucket, picking it up with the microphone, it worked really well. I wouldn't have recognized his voice, obviously, because that disguises it, but it suits the song, it suits the style. That was a great idea. I don't know how they came up with that idea, but you know, I guess you're in the studio and you have time to play around and you take what you have at hand and see what sort of sounds come out of it. Pretty fun. Okay, well, let's go back, and this flies by so fast, but let's see if we can kind of put the brakes on a bit, pause it from time to time, and notice some of the features of the music and how it does what it does. Such a great little intro. And it's just piano, but here, something stands out to me about his piano skills, and that is he's pretty decent. As a pianist, as a piano teacher, there are little things that I listen for and that I pick up on. If you notice, both of his hands are doing different things in different ways. Listen again. It's not terribly complicated, but he has this, well, it starts right here. It's kind of tricky to see because it's spread across 2 pages. But we have that little is a different kind of finger action than and notice that the left hand goes beam bum beep. And so we have what we call differences in articulation. I hear the same thing on the guitar, although I'm no expert on how a guitarist creates all of that. So I hear it, but I don't visualize and understand in such detail how it's accomplished. But here I hear it. Well, it's not something that is a highly complex little line. Probably I could teach most of you to do it in about 30 minutes or so. If we were sitting together and you said, oh, I want to learn how to play the piano. Well, I could teach you that little line. That'd be fun. But notice how stylishly he does it. What I mean by stylish is when he plays it, it's like he sings. He does it not stressing over how to get the fingers to work. But the fingers are just running and doing their thing to create an effect, a sound, a style, a mood, a quality. And he does it quite well. Again, that confirms what I have kind of settled into thinking. And that is that he had decent piano skills. And it's fun to see him using them, even though obviously voice is his specialty. I've heard him use piano before, and here he's using it again. And it's nice to see him applying all of his different abilities. And this is just a great little opening. And it's such great timing. Ya-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then when the drums come in, pop, right on time with the piano. A great transition, great intro.
I go out to work on Monday morning. Tuesday I go off to honeymoon. I'll be back again.
And the character continues, but when his voice comes in, well, I'm thinking of the lyrics too. And this short little song. I go out to work on Monday morning. Tuesday, I go off to honeymoon. I'll be back again before it's time for sunny down. I'll be lazing on a Sunday afternoon. Bicycling every day has something different. Basically, he's saying, I'm a very changeable, active, I do all these different things because it's what I want and that's how it is. And By the way, I'm just an ordinary guy. I don't want you to think of me as anything special or weird or highly unusual. It's just me. I'm an ordinary guy. This is what I like to do, and I'm going to go do it. And something about this song, the style of it, kind of reminds me of Gilbert and Sullivan's Pirates of Penzance song, that famous one, I am the very model of a modern major general. And you remember the way it's sung, I am the very model of a modern major general. I've information, animal and mineral and vegetable. And it goes on, and it's usually sung very rapidly, and again, it's this kind of vaudeville patter song, humor, at the same time really giving a character a personality. And that's what we hear in this one as well. And just the idea of that one is listing all the characteristics of a modern major general, at least in his eyes. And this one is listing the activities of an ordinary guy.
I go out to work on Monday morning. Tuesday I go off to honeymoon.
I like the way he sings, I go off to work on Monday morning. It adds something rather than I go off to work on Monday morning. That little bit of flourish. Morning. It's those little details that really enliven a piece of music.
I go out to work on Monday morning. Tuesday I go off to honeymoon.
And the way he sings Tuesday. It's not just Tuesday I go, it's Tuesday I go off to honeymoon. So great.
Tuesday I go off to honeymoon. I'll be back again before it's time for sunny down. I'll be lazing on a Sunday afternoon.
And this treatment of the voice that gives it this sort of megaphone sound, well, it kind of also gives it a little bit of a, what we could call a retro feel, where it sounds like it's coming from the 20s on some old record, and at the same time the activities in the song are kind of from that kind of life, back where things are simpler. What do we have? Honeymoon, a Sunday afternoon, lazy Sunday afternoon. We're going to work, we're going bicycling, go waltzing to the zoo. Okay, go to the zoo. And then Fridays I go painting in the Louvre. Well, I don't know, is that an ordinary guy? Anyway, he is an ordinary guy. Maybe he has not so much responsibility in life, although he does go to work on Monday morning. But he's saying, come on, I do what I want when I want. And as the mood strikes, I'm off to do it.
Maybe he's an artist.
Obviously. Although I'm not sure he's a painter artist. I think he's just an artist personality. Let's listen to the music here, though. Because what he's done is he's taken this really stereotypical, as he said, vaudeville style and kind of crude in a way. And it fits perfectly. There's nothing really elaborate or highly inventive. The great thing about it is that it so perfectly fits, and it conveys so perfectly the mood, the style, the character. That's the whole point. He wants this to have a certain effect on us, and it does that.
I'll be back again before it's time for sunny down. I'll be lazing on a Sunday afternoon.
I like that bass, and I'm not listening to the end, bum, 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 which is a very standard ending for something where you just want to throw it out, bum, bum, bum. But listen to the bass in here. It's doing a little bit of running around, which is kind of fun.
I'll be back again before it's time sunny down. I'll be lazing on a Sunday afternoon. Bicycling on every Wednesday.
There's no grand transition, there's no filler. It's just bum, bum, bum. Off we go to the next thing. Bicycling.
Bicycling on every Wednesday evening. Thursday I go.
Don't you love that little bicycle bell there? That is such a great little touch. Kind of like the cowbell in the previous song I listened to.
Bicycling on every Wednesday evening. Thursday I go waltzing to the zoo. I come from London.
And he says go waltzing to the zoo. Okay. He's not treating this music as something that needs to describe every activity, right? The music is instead describing the mood. And so when he says, I go waltzing to the zoo, then it gets a little bit more, should we say feminine? More of a flourish, more expressive in a smooth way. And again, it's the music portraying the changeable moods. I can go all this stuff, bum, da-dum, ba-dum, 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 and then in a flash, I can just go, oh, I'm ready to go do this now.
Thursday I go waltzing to the zoo. I come from London town. I'm just an ordinary guy. Fridays I go painting in the Louvre.
What sort of ordinary guy goes to the zoo one day and then goes painting in the Louvre next? My point is, I think that when he says, I'm just an ordinary guy, I don't think he's talking about his station in life or his resources, his abilities, because obviously most ordinary people, the idea of ordinary is that it is most people, but an ordinary person doesn't have the freedom and liberty for that. What he's saying is, I don't have any grand ambitions. I don't aspire to be anybody great. I am just me, my ordinary way. I'm nobody special. I don't have any fancy, any great thing to offer. I just like to be my ordinary self, myself. I'm just an ordinary guy. Don't expect anything impressive or grand from me. And I think that's what that line is saying. And I think that this probably expresses a lot of Freddie's feelings about himself as well. As he said, he has a lot of changeable moods himself. And this line, I'm just an ordinary guy, I think he didn't want to be perceived as somebody, well, I shouldn't put words in his mouth before I know more about him. But in this song, I get the feeling that he doesn't want to be perceived as somebody highly special. He just wants to be himself, and he wants to be free to be himself. And that's what is so nice about this song, is that it conveys that attitude so sweetly.
I'm bound to be proposing on
And now we're back to this one.
Lazing on a Sunday.
Listen to the chorus.
On a Sunday
And then when this guitar comes in, I love the way it kind of summarizes all of this that has been sung about. It has this cheery flamboyance, this easy attitude that is also happy and energetic. And it's as if it's continuing it's the voice that continues what was being sung about. Let's listen to this. just as quickly as it began, it's over. And I don't think that there's a note that should be changed. Because, as I said, it is the perfect music, the perfect style to portray this personality. And I'm thinking back to what I read in one of the earlier songs, that Freddie loves all things French. He loved the French society. He loved French literature. He loved French music. He loved the French language. And this song sounds very un-British in the type of person that it is painting in our minds. It sounds to me like this is somebody who lives in London but doesn't really fit in with the, the proper British, persona. Either the hardworking or the, conservative, stiff upper lip, well-behaved. No, this is somebody who fits better in France. Well, maybe that's why he goes painting in the Louvre from time to time. He's just got to get out of there. But it's so interesting that he has set this in London. I come from London town. So it's as if he was born and raised there. He's built a life there. And yet he's a bit of a misfit. He doesn't really belong. And yet that's his identity. That's where I come from. And that makes this line, Friday's Echo Painting in the Louvre, especially striking. Because it tells us that this person has a life that they love. At the same time, they sometimes have to go somewhere else to be free, to not be locked in by the expectations and the habits of society around them. But I love the freedom of it. I love the carefree attitude of owning who I am and being happy with who I am. I think that's really great. And I love the cheeriness of the song. This is who I am, and I'm happy with it. And, well, there we have Lazing on a Sunday afternoon. It's a great song. And, again, it's a strikingly different style than the pieces I've listened to beforehand. And in that way, it could be quite surprising. Except that, as I have been warned, Queen is highly versatile. Well, that's what versatility means. You can have surprise after surprise. One after the next of different things. The short, small size of this song makes me think of it in terms of a sort of postage stamp. I can imagine this person in this lifestyle that is being described, writing a letter, and this is the postage stamp of their personality that they apply to everything they do, whether it's writing a letter or calling a friend or going off on a honeymoon. And that would be quite an interesting honeymoon to have hopefully whoever they're with can handle the dynamism. That would be great. Don't forget to check out Coffee and Patreon, and I'll see you next time.